What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today, have you accepted the change into your life? This is Anniversary. This is a new film from Lionsgate that is opening nationwide, as far as I can tell. So I got an advance screening of Anniversary. It stars Diane Lane, Kyle Chandler, Dylan O'Brien, Zoey Deutch, Madeline Brewer, Daryl McCormack, and McKenna Grace. So it's got a pretty good cast to it. What is the change? What is this thing that they're obsessed about? I think that's going to be the question when you go into Anniversary is, what is the change? And can you accept the change? So Anniversary starts off at just sort of a family gathering of sorts. It's a close, tight-knit family. The film has its vibes sort of change as the film progresses, which is why if you look up an IMDb and you'll see it's listed as like a political thriller, psychological thriller, like those kind of movies. It doesn't really feel like a thriller at the beginning. It feels just kind of like a family drama. Maybe like The Ice Storm, something like that, if from back in the day. Something where it's just like people have come together for whatever, And I don't know why I thought of The Ice Storm, but this movie made me think of The Ice Storm, and I have no idea why. Because there's so many other possibilities and options, like This Is Where I Leave You. I don't know. Anyway, my mind is clogged immediately. So Diane and Kyle are the matriarch and patriarch of the family. She works at a university. It's not an Ivy League university. I believe it's Georgetown because her son's girlfriend, wife, are they married? I can't remember. Also is from Georgetown, and she's got this speech, but Diane Lane does not think the thing that she's done is necessarily good and is going to add to the public discourse in a positive way. You get these little like brief cut-ins from this company that is sort of like trying to lull people into, like we're everybody. It's, I don't know, something simple. It sounded like they were running a dairy farm, to be totally honest, but they're part of this change that's happening, that's sweeping the nation. A little bit of a mind wash. I would say this is going to be an interesting film to see people react to because it's political but also apolitical at the same time. I couldn't say that this is necessarily related to any of our current political structure because the change is not necessarily trying to claw at our current politics. Like, it's not woke versus MAGA, or it's not it doesn't bring up like hot button topics like, well, if you're not part of the change, then you must hate trans athletes. It's not any of that. It's just there's this thing that's clearly changing the political structure of the country, and if you're not part of it, then you must be the enemy. And slowly, as that builds, the sense of dread of the direction that this family is headed in becomes a little bit more pronounced, which is the thriller part of it. So I don't want to spoil it because I thought this film went in an interesting direction in the fact that it sort of changes and increases and moves forward into sort of like a fever pitch. I think that's what's in its strength. It's a tough movie because it's got vibes where it could have been released into awards season and maybe gotten some buzz, but it feels like it would be one of those films that would fall just short of it. So they're not trying, which is kind of sad because I thought the performances here were strong. Once again, we have another strong Dylan O'Brien performance this year, which would help boost his visibility in here if he's ever going to get nominated for Twinless. So the cast is great, and same thing could be said for Zoey Deutch, who is also in Nouvelle Vogue from Richard Linklater. So they're both people who could benefit from visibility in award season because they're sort of on the fringe of it. But yeah, I mean, Diane Lane, previous Oscar nominee for Unfaithful, is carrying the film, but it's nice to see Kyle Chandler here as well. And I think the two work well off of each other. I forgot Phoebe Dynevor is here also. There's a lot of people in this movie. And that's a stacked cast. And if you're looking for something to watch before it gets buried in Oscar season, this is something that might be up your alley. So give it a look-see. It's an interesting film, and I don't want to completely give it a pass on the not directly attacking our political structure, because I feel like that was my biggest complaint about Civil War, which was Alex Garland clearly trying to mirror our current state of affairs in many regards without actually taking a side. But he kept that so politically neutral that you didn't actually know why anybody was fighting. Like the whole message about, well, what are all these different factions and what makes them different, and why does the press sometimes show their past but then other times they don't? Like, what are these differences as they cross America? So I felt like he lost a little bit of the thread there with that. With this, the change just feels like a cult that's sweeping the country, and if you're not a part of it, then you must be on the other side of it. So it could be used either way. You'll see it from the perspective that you'll see it from. Like, if you're MAGA, then you think that woke is sweeping the nation. And if you're, I'm not going to use the term woke to define the other people on the other side. If you're not MAGA, a lot of the things that they throw around are not really things anymore. If you're, I don't know, politically liberal, and you think MAGA is sweeping the nation and is the cult that is taking over, then that's what you'll see in this film. So you'll see what it is that you want to see, I think. So it'll make this interesting as to who sees what, who takes away what, and some of the more politically divided, because now we have to have politically divisive film criticism. So I think you'll get out of it what you get out of it, is what I'm saying. I think this director, whereas Alex Garland, I don't think can get away with it because he's trying to mirror too much of our own political structure. This feels a little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more dystopian type of thing. It's a little bit more of this is not our political structure. It could be ours. Maybe you think it's ours. Maybe this feels close to what you think, but there is no change sweeping the nation. This is not a real thing that's happening. So it can get away with clawing at those sort of things and keeping it in sort of a modern era with the cast, and it's not like super futuristic. We're not living in space. It's not one of those movies either. It's not like Elysium. So I'm intrigued. Let me know if you see this and if you like it, what your thoughts are on it. I think it's an interesting family political drama, and that wasn't quite what I was expecting. But I like the play. It could be smarter, but also at the same time, I think, like, if it was doing that, then it would start taking sides. So I kind of don't want to push at it too much. There certainly were times where I felt like a sharper screenwriter would have made more of those biting satirical comments, but those are the same satirical comments that could get this film into more of a sort of ideological trouble, where it suddenly both sides can't see themselves in this family and take out what they want of it. So it's walking sort of a neutral line and trying not to take really one side over the other, one ideology over the other. It's trying to, hold up a mirror to you and say, what do you see? And I think everybody will see something different in their own interpretation. So, Anniversary. It's not going to win any awards, but there's no reason this couldn't have been on the fringe of. There are plenty of films that like you get in that one, but they end up like getting like a couple critics nominations along the way for something like. Like this could get like an original screenplay or ensemble, something like that. It's got a great ensemble. You can't deny that. This cast is stacked. But yeah, I mean, something along the way, just with a little bit of a push. But yeah, ultimately, this would be like The Fire Inside, where it's not going to, or Unstoppable last year, Amazon's movies that they were trying to throw that were not Nickel Boys. Yeah, it's going to be like one of those where it can stay in the season. People might talk about it. It could end up on some critics lists. But ultimately, I don't think it would manifest I'm being a little bit more critical because Lionsgate just didn't run a campaign last year, which felt kind of sad because they had Small Things Like These, which Cillian Murphy was great in, and I thought they needed to push that a little bit more, but they didn't have the money, I guess, because Borderlands and The Crow. So I don't know. Anniversary is just kind of being released to make some money before it hits VOD, which is what I think a lot of their movies are. Because I really love She Rides Shotgun, and that film just did not get the kind of attention that it deserved. And I know other people who love that movie. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to give Anniversary a 7.1 out of 10. I liked it. Could I get more out of it? Sure. But that's just me. Like, I fully also acknowledge the flaw here is that if I ask for like Aaron Sorkin to write the screenplay, I'm going to get an Aaron Sorkin screenplay. And suddenly certain people are not going to be able to see themselves in the thing because Aaron Sorkin writes a certain way and leans a certain way, and his characters are going to, you're going to feel like there's messaging from that angle as well. As much as I would assume if David Mamet wrote it, that there would be messaging the same way. So when you start asking those people to jump in and start needling, well, then you lose the sort of mid-ground vibe that this film is going for. So that's it. Anyway, check it out. It has audio description in theaters and on VOD when it hits VOD in a couple weeks after its theatrical release. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the other side.